Hogan on this one.
Yeah, did you wanna sing the intro music now that we're on?
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. I don't remember anymore that song.
Probably gonna get hit with some like copyright claim now. Welcome to USfanTV. It's Cyber Monday. We have a great deal for you today. This show is free.
None.
100% off. So you should feel very, very thankful for that.
Like my pants.
Great to know. I think we're going to start tonight. First, we should ask, Chris, how was your Thanksgiving? I understand you went to the state of Arkansas.
I did. It is every bit Arkansas. Actually, the parts I were in were nice. I do have family there. I've been there many times. I wanted to stop by and see the Bill Clinton presidential library on the way out of town, but I just didn't have time, and I had my kids with me, so they were not going to sit through that. But I do enjoy presidential museums or libraries and museums, so I did want to try it out, but maybe next time or some other time when I go.
Yes, I want to go to that museum as well.
I passed through Little Rock and Springfield, so I did go through two presidential museum cities over the holiday, but I did not stop at either one.
Did you go to a place called Hope?
I did pass over the White River. I heard Hillary was selling some land there.
We should start.
20-year-old conspiracy joke.
There you go. We should start with Jordan Morris, who I know you were in the car, but I'm sure you got to see some of it after the fact, was outstanding last night for Seattle. He was battling the flu, which brought up a bunch of people to say that this is just another Jordan with a flu game.
Or Kirk Gibson for the, what was that, 87 Dodgers?
I think 88, but yeah, with this thing. He was very, very good. He gets lit up by Colorado's goalie when he's going in. He scored the only goal of the game. Goes over to the sidelines. I thought he was done. Apparently screams at his dad, who is also the Seattle team doctor, when he's pressing to see if there's ligament damage. Gets back out there quickly, and despite the fact that he looked sick and he looked to be struggling, he was also playing his ass off out there. And so, I think he impressed about everybody that watched that game. It reminded me a lot of Brian McBride, and I don't think McBride was sick, but it reminded me of the Italy game in 2006 where McBride just
where they decided to break his nose across his face.
Yes, in a situation where it was very tough. So hats off to Jordan Morris, who was awesome last night. Where do you I wrote this. I still think he's below Josie and Bobby Wood on the pecking order right now, but maybe Bruce Arena sees it very differently. Where do you see it? And where do you see Jordan Morris fitting in our national team right now?
I mean, he's still, number 3, 4, something like that in terms of like our forward strikers. He's certainly not going to surpass Josie or Bobby Wood, of course, but like you said. But he's somewhere, I would say, not too far behind that. He does, when we first saw him play, and when we saw him score his first goal against Mexico in San Antonio last year,
did, yes.
He was more of, I think he was more limited. I think he was more of a poacher, he was showing some talent, some potential, but he wasn't necessarily showing kind of end product. I'm assuming that's why he didn't actually stay in Germany. But certainly this season, the end of this season, he's come on strong. He's really showing more of not just potential, but actual end product now. And I think that will certainly help him if it doesn't draw more attention to maybe get MLS to sell him to Europe and he finally makes a real move. He's
one of those weird guys who he's kind of lumbering. He looks like he's slow, but he's not. He looks
Wayne Rooney-ish.
Exactly. I was going to say it's like Wayne Rooney in that regard. He looks like he's not. He wouldn't be a good athlete, but he's a tremendous athlete. It's hard to figure out, but if he can just get the left foot going, which I think he has been working on it, because you can see that there was I think in the first leg of that series, there was a moment where he pushed it over and looked like he was going to shoot with his left, and everybody kind of like, Twitter blew up when that happened. But
it was Arsene Wenger with a jacket.
Yeah, exactly. I think, for a guy who was in college a year ago or whatever it was, I think, big things are going to be coming for Jordan, and I would not be surprised to see him after a couple of years in Seattle jump over to Europe and ply his trade over there, which I think would be good for him, because we could see what he's really made of over there. But awesome for him that he's going to be in the MLS Cup, and awesome for Seattle. Just goes to show that when you have owners who care, good things can happen to your team.
Are you speaking of a team in particular that doesn't have an ownership that cares?
Maybe plays a few miles away from my home in suburban Chicago. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's a different level. When I watch Seattle on TV, when I watch a team like Toronto, all those fans in the stands, what Montreal did the other night, just absolutely incredible. I'm jealous. I want that, but I don't have that here. We haven't had that for many years here, and I don't know that we'll get it again. So hats off to them, and I'm really hoping Toronto sneaks in there. I think all they have to do is win Wednesday, and they would be in. There could be some different score lines that could change that, but I think all they have to do is win Wednesday and they're in. That'd be pretty cool to see. I don't know. You have a rooting interest in the remaining teams in MLS?
I don't necessarily. I'll say I don't have a dog in the fight. It's nice to see Josie and Bradley actually playing well. Josie hasn't played poorly for the U.S. lately, but certainly it's been a while since Bradley's played well for the U.S. or truly played well, like stand out. This is why he's the heart of the team, and the captain played well. So in that regard, I certainly like to see them. I do have my bias against all teams from Canada, so there is that.
One of them has to win.
One of them has to win. I won't go into the variances of things that I would possibly say should happen to teams from Canada, but since there are players I like on the teams, I'll let it go. So in that regard, I like to see them play well. Jovinko, that guy may be the best player MLS has ever had from the way he's looked. The things he's done since coming to that team, it's kind of remarkable that Italy didn't play him for so long. Like, this guy looks incredible. So I even my biases against Italy, and as a soccer nation, I got to say that guy's awesome. So there are some guys on that team who I wish well. So in that regard, I guess I'm sort of for Toronto. I don't necessarily have a dog in the fight. I guess I am curious, will this season be the last of Bradley in Toronto?
Yeah, I think, and I wrote this on the website over the weekend, but I think I'd like to see, at the very least, if Bradley's mentally and physically up for it, a loan deal. I'd like to see what he looks like, either playing for his dad, which brings up all that daddy crap, but trust his dad as a coach, or maybe going back to, I know there's been some interest with some Italian clubs. I'd like to see him go back to Europe, at least for a loan deal, if he can pull it off, just to see what he does. Because I've wondered for a long time, he's been on the decline for the national team for a long time, and I've wondered, is that due to the fact that he came back to MLS, or maybe he's just getting older, or is it because Klinsmann was terrible and didn't know how to use him? So I think seeing him play in Europe will let us know, right away, especially if he plays for his dad and he knows kind of what to expect from that manager. It'll let us know right away what he's got left in the tank for us. He's still going to be around by 2018, but he's definitely not the guy he used to be. So I'd like to see what he can do.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do it. And maybe it becomes sort of like Donovan in the end, where it's like he has a career resurgence in his last couple of years, playing in Europe and playing in MLS. And suddenly he has this kind of lightning in a bottle year where it's like everything comes together and he finally shows all the potential that he had all along. And everyone was like, oh, well, I don't know. I mean, you look at like the 2010 to 2012 era of Donovan, and all the Landy Cakes jokes were gone, except for people who were kind of making them as like almost mocking the old way we used to mock Donovan. It's like you're making fun of yourself at that point. That stuff was all gone because he showed so much there, and he ingrained himself so well with the supporters in Everton. It would be nice to see Bradley do something like that again, go back to being Il Generalissimo, and less of not Jermaine Jones, basically. It's like just another defensive midfielder that we have in the lineup. I'd like to see, and maybe it was injuries, maybe it's sort of like I think happened to Donovan, where he just couldn't carry the pressure and the weight of being the heart of the team, of being like the engine of the team, the heart of the team, the reason the team's out there, the reason the team wins or loses. It's hard to carry all that, and sort of, I mean, the one thing he didn't have that Donovan did was also be the face of U.S. soccer on top of it. But he's had to carry so much of that weight, and I think Donovan struggled the same thing. I think it takes probably a world-class player to truly carry all that. And yeah, we haven't yet had that. I mean, he at times has shown close to world-class ability, but to say that he is, no, I think if you look career-wise, he's not. And the big problem has been, like, I disagree with some of our commenters who said he's a donkey and he's no good. No, he's not. That you're selling the guy short. I mean, you're thinking of Donovan in 2008. And what I like to talk about is, not to totally defend Bradley here, but I see that a lot of people who love Donovan talk about how he's the greatest player the U.S. ever had until Pulisic blew up. Forget that, yeah, but those same people were all hammering him, trashing him in like 2007, 2008. And suddenly a few years later, he's amazing, and that's what you remember him for. I think Bradley could have some of that resurgence, but I do think it's probably going to take going back to Europe and truly exploiting his chances, exploiting his capabilities, and pushing himself to the limit. He does a good job of that, but I don't think he does a good job of it. Or he does a good job of it on a smaller level. I don't think he does a good job of it on the broader perspective. And some of it is, hey, he had a family. He wanted to make a lot of money because his career isn't going to last forever. I get why he went to MLS. Who was going to pay him that kind of money? But at the same time, as a fan of the U.S. and as a fan of his, I would like to see him be the player we all thought he was, the player he all appeared to be just a few years ago. Get some of that magic back. So I think to have that happen, he probably has to go to Europe and truly challenge himself. Where if he plays like he is now, he's not going to get on the team. If he wants to play, he's got to hold the ball better. He's got to see the field better. He's got to make sharper passes. And maybe some of it is confidence too. Maybe you're right about Klinsmann. Maybe it's that because things haven't been going well for the U.S., he wasn't as secure in where other players were, or how he was playing with them. So he wasn't playing to his full potential. So anyway, that's a long way of saying, yeah, I kind of hope that even if it's not long term, I agree. I hope he signs a loan deal and heads off to Europe.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're right. Long term, he's going to have to take a pay cut if he wants to go back to Europe. And I don't know if I'm him that I would. My family's settled. Toronto's an awesome city. The club seems to really care about what they're doing. A loan deal would be cool because we'd get a quick look at what he could do. But as far as going back to Europe, no one's going to pay him $6.5 million. I don't think.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
One more MLS topic before we move on to Josh Perez and some of the other stuff that's going on today. You see Jermaine Jones being Jermaine Jones right after the Rapids lost. Jermaine Jones tweets, "Free agent, baby." Now, he's a free agent in the sense of in the MLS world, which means he can go to Mexico, which he said he's not scared to go to Mexico. Or I don't know why he chose those words. Or he'd go back to Europe. But he can't actually go to another MLS team
unless it's the Galaxy.
Right, unless they do the whole thing where they make up the rules and there's TAM and GAM and whatever the hell it is, that they change the rules every 5 minutes for MLS. Yeah, if the Galaxy wants him, they'll find a way. I assume.
The MLA Galaxy, the MLAS.
But yeah, I don't even know. What is Jermaine Jones? Do you care where he goes next? Does he have enough left in the tank that you even care if he goes to Mexico or if he can latch onto a Bundesliga team or wherever he would go? Do you have a preference? Do you think it even matters at this point?
To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't. My feeling is he's kind of reached his window. He needs to retire internationally. He still has a few things to offer, and if we were still playing in March, fine. But beyond that, he's not gonna. He's too old to play in the next World Cup. So we really need to start shifting guys to replace him for the future. So by probably the midsummer games, I think we need to have other guys in place, or we need to have other options in place. And so wherever he ends up, I mean, I wish him well. It's not like I dislike the guy, but whatever. It doesn't matter where he plays. It's not going to affect his playing chances for the U.S. I just don't see him continuing beyond maybe March, and that's more of a continuity thing than anything else.
You know what? I'm not worried about it anymore, because if Bruce feels he fits a need, then he'll bring him in. Maybe not in the 11 anymore, in the 18. My problem with Jermaine was never Jermaine. My problem with Jermaine was Klinsmann, who felt the need to get Jermaine in the team no matter what, and it just seemed like he didn't always fit. So, and then when Jermaine does go out there, he just kind of does his thing. Like you maybe tell Jermaine what position he's playing, but I don't know that he's going to stick to it if he doesn't want to. So
perhaps Klinsmann should have asked Dr. Dre about Jermaine.
Big news in Italy today, and good news for us. Josh Perez, the 18-year-old from California, got some minutes today in the Serie A, his first minutes of the year for Fiorentina. He came on, I think they were down about 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah, and he came on 75th minute or so. I mean, this is awesome. The one thing Klinsmann was always right about is you want guys testing themselves, especially younger guys testing themselves in Europe, and we've got a guy in Serie A. First time since I think probably Michael Bradley, because I'm not counting Giuseppe Rossi. The first time that we've had an American playing there. So
a real American playing in.
Right. I might be missing somebody, but I think it probably is the first time since Bradley left that we've had a player in that league. And it's not, it's not the league it used to be when Alexi Lalas was over there 20 years ago or whatever it was. It's
rigged totally differently now.
It's extraordinarily corrupt.
I've never heard that about Italy before.
It's exactly what you'd expect from it.
Just don't know any college students have been murdered, and then you're fine, as long as you're not an American.
An Amanda Knox reference. Wow.
I watched the thing on Netflix last week, so.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think she might be nuts, actually, but I don't know that she did it, but I think she might be nuts. He's also Hugo Perez's nephew, who was on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that until I read that literally today. I didn't know that that he was related. That's kind of amazing that this could be our first real family connection to represent the U.S. Now, I don't know if Tai Keogh, who I met as a kid, ever played, even though his dad did play in the 1950 team. I don't think he did, but he may have back in those early 80s days when it was like our national team was like Southern Illinois, University of Edwardsville guys, and that's about it. They all went to like St. Louis University and SIU Edwardsville. But anyway, that's off topic. I don't know that if Tai Keogh ever played, but otherwise, yeah, I don't know that we have a real family connection unless you want to count like Jonathan Klinsmann playing for the youth teams. But so that's pretty cool that we have somebody who actually who's like name and face you may actually know from U.S. teams past now has a relative playing, or could have a relative playing for the U.S. So that's pretty cool.
He's as I understand it, he's a forward, but he plays wide a lot of the time, kind of like our guy Pulisic.
Kind of like a lot of our
Yeah,
guys.
I think long term though, if Josh is going to be part of the program, I see Pulisic moving inside,
Yeah.
which Jurgen was actually right to do. Maybe not against Mexico, but long term, yes. So this may work. And it's great. It's absolutely great that he's getting first team minutes in the Serie A. It's it's tremendous. What can go wrong? What can come unless the mob hit or something?
Well,
what can go wrong?
there are lots of things that can go wrong in Italy. But yeah, I was going to say, I mean, really, that is kind of that, like Lyndon Gooch getting in for Sunderland when they were trying to get a point back or some result against Liverpool, and probably Bradley's first win this weekend were kind of the positives for really the U.S. national team or national team close to-ish players or connections. I mean, because on the negative side, there was Emerson Hyndman, who didn't get in at Bournemouth against Arsenal. Carter Vickers didn't play for Spurs. Zelalem and Ola Sunday, who's at Man U. Neither of them. Well, I take that. They were both playing. They're both still playing for the 23s, but they can't get in at the senior side.
Yeah.
Timmy Chandler looked awesome again for Frankfurt, but once again, can't play a decent game for the U.S. still. Even Matt Miazga, he can't even get a game on loan. Like, he's sitting on the bench, he's not even making the squad. I take it back. I think he did make the bench. He didn't play for Vitesse. So it wasn't, all in all, it wasn't a very positive weekend. When you figure like guys like Bobby Wood are still out in suspension too, it wasn't a real positive weekend abroad for U.S. national teamers. But there were at least a few bright spots in, Josh Perez. Granted, I mean, it's just potential because he hasn't played for the senior squad yet, so who the hell knows. But to see that there are some really young guys who are in position to presumably get a chance for the national team, that's cool to see.
Yeah, it's let's talk about a couple of those guys playing in England right now. Carter Vickers and Zelalem.
One is for a good team, one is for a horrible team. What?
One's going to be screwed over in the long term if he stays with Spurs. I can tell you that.
He's always going to finish second.
Look what happened to Klinsmann brought in the bat.
Arsenal.
DeAndre went there. Deuce hasn't been the same since he went there.
True.
It's not a place you want to go.
Very Spursy. Very Spursy.
But Zelalem, he had that loan deal at Rangers last year and didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
He's not going to get a game unless it's a League Cup game or a U23 game for Arsenal. Arsenal's got 10 guys maybe ahead of him at this point. So
yeah. I think that's probably a fair number, maybe more than that.
I don't know that I want to
move on.
I don't know that I want to see him sold yet, but I'm afraid that if he's just sitting there, he's not going to develop. I'd really like to see him go somewhere where he's going to play. I don't really care where it is, just play. So, and Carter Vickers, I think, is a little bit closer to breaking through at Spurs, but again, he's not quite there. And I just want these guys playing rather than sitting. I feel like there's time wasting there.
Well, and part of the problem at Spurs is that because their team is so young and so talented, you just run into the kind of the brick wall of age that unless you see a few people get hurt in front of you, you're never going to really get a chance, because it's not even like you can say, well, in 2 years, this guy's going to retire or move somewhere else or whatever. Nope. Nobody in that team is retiring in 2 years. In 2 years, they may just be coming into their prime. So, I think he probably needs to find some greener pastures as well.
It wouldn't hurt. You've got, remember when, back to Zelalem, when the citizenship deal went through, we went nuts like we had just scored Ronaldo or something. And that was 2 years ago. I think this January, it'll be 2 years, and he hasn't even gotten a game for us yet. So,
yeah.
I don't think I'm ready to write him off yet, but I really, it's time to start going now. It's time to start getting something done if you're him. And if you can't do it at Arsenal, then you got to move on. I wrote
Agreed.
that not the same deal completely because one was due to injuries, but he kind of reminds me of Danny Carbassiun in the sense that he's got all this talent and he's sitting there in the youth squads at Arsenal, not getting game for the men's national team here.
Just wait till he gets hurt
and then if an injury pops up and he's done. And I just don't want to see that because that kid's he's skinny and he's easy to knock off the ball, but he's got a crazy amount of talent. So,
should we throw out a hi to Ramin and get him to watch us?
Yes. We worked in television together. That's how we met. We had a photographer, a cameraman, who was Danny Carbassiun's cousin, a good dude named Ramin. So Ramin, if you're watching, miss you.
How we knew of Danny like even before. I think he had just signed with Arsenal. We already knew of him. Yeah, that was good times. All right, other topics. I know we've gotten some comments about NASL. Your thoughts?
That's a train wreck.
North American. I won't say what a shit luck. Shit show loss. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are. I know you know more about like what's happened with the Cosmos, but with the number of teams falling out, I think the entire league's in trouble. And who's going to save it? I mean, USL seems to be coming on. MLS isn't going anywhere. Who's going to save this? What looks like it's dying third league?
Well, I mean, Pro Rel would save it. Not to get onto that.
Oh God, we're gonna get lots of comments,
but I know I understand the arguments on both sides there. I know why we're not doing it. I understand why we should do it, but you know, it would be nice. I kind of view this, for those that don't know, the league is in a lot of trouble this week. There was news that came out today about the Cosmos not paying players for a while. Apparently all the players have been paid, but the Cosmos don't look like they're getting ready to play next season. They don't look like they're going to keep going. And I guess USL is ready to take on some teams. I don't think the Cosmos want to go to USL because the Cosmos feel, for whatever reason, their name probably is the biggest reason, that they deserve more than this when they really don't.
So like Pele played for a sort of.
Pele played for a team that had the same name as our team. So, but yeah, I would like to. I view it kind of as an opportunity here. Let's merge the leagues. Let's clean it up and let's get a solid second tier going. And this is something where Sunil could step in and hopefully help broker this if he was so inclined, because it would be an important thing to do for American soccer, and he's kind of uniquely fitted to do it. So
Sunil's known for stepping in and cleaning things up, right?
Yeah, I guess so. He could use those economic skills of his to help bring it together. But yeah, it's not good, but it I think will be better in the long run. I don't know that you want two leagues that both kind of think they're the second division.
Yeah, that's certainly a problem. If we're going to get into Pro Rel, we are bringing TJ back on to discuss that. Let him.
Yeah, we would just turn it over to him. Like, go away.
Yeah, TJ, if you're watching, if you want to discuss Pro Rel, we didn't tell you we were doing this at a time because I was at a movie. So, yeah, if you want to discuss Pro Rel, we'll just let you have like an hour. Nothing like inside jokes to entertain people.
Like a Hugh Hefner jacket in front of a fire. Here's TJ talking Pro Rel.
And now, TJ's Zaremba. NASL, it's a train wreck. I mean, really, aside from the Cosmos, I know the Rowdies, whatever. Like there are technically at least brands there to perhaps save, but really, come on, the league's done, or something's got to change. I mean, either they're going to have to merge with USL, or USL is going to have to merge with them, and USL's not going to merge with them. Like, why would they go? You know what? We have everything in place. We're not having problems. You're the one that it's up a creek. So, I don't get that into what's happening with it. And our focus here really is the U.S. So U.S. national team. So I won't go too far into it. But what's happening with it? It's a shit show, and good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something we really cover, but it is important, I guess, in the sense that it's the base of American soccer, and we'd like it to be at least functioning correctly.
And I mean, long ago, it was so much of the foundation of what we have now. I mean, guys like Tab Ramos played there once upon a time. But
your men's national team coach, Tab Ramos.
But when you're 30 years past your death, 40 years past your prime, 30 years past your death, or whatever you want to call it, what's there to save really at this point? So we have everything else in place. MLS has been around for over 20 years now, so it's not going anywhere. They're not having financial problems. USL, I won't. Yeah, like I said, if we want to discuss Pro Rel, we have people who can do it. I can sit and do some of it. I just think it's a needless conversation, and that's the only way that I think you're really going to look at one of these leagues, somehow make it, and there's just not an audience to go around to truly support two Division II leagues.
No. Let's leave that topic there because we have a big topic to discuss. Since we started this a couple of months ago, I think we've had two types of commenters, really. We've had a lot of Mexican fans who have been actually very supportive. So
yeah, thank you guys. Welcome.
You guys are awesome. We still hate the national team, but you guys are awesome. And we've had a barrage of comments from Asian Americans wanting to know why Klinsmann never called up. Now is your time. We're going to talk about Lee Nguyen right now. Go.
My feeling is, I agree with you guys. He deserved a spot. I think when he moved to Vietnam, it was kind of a death knell for him. I mean, I understand why he did it. It's sort of like Bradley going to MLS. He got a bunch of money that he wasn't going to get elsewhere. I really thought when he first kind of hit it big and was playing in Europe that, he was going to do it, but he wasn't getting enough playing time. I thought he was kind of the future, and then he went to Vietnam, and it was like, okay, well, see you around. And I think that was sort of the death knell for his national team career. I agree that he would be a good number 10. I think the problem at this point is he and Sasha are too much alike. Sasha Kljestan has a spot, and on top of it, they're too close in age. I mean, they play so much of the same position. Sasha has it kind of, I think, locked in right now. Maybe things will change under Bruce Arena, but to me, it's sort of, if he
Sasha's better. I mean,
Sasha's better, but I think it's at least minimal. If you were looking at if Lee Nguyen was like 26,
I would definitely go Lee Nguyen then. Yes.
Yeah. But, when they're both like 30, 31, I think Lee Nguyen is 30. I think Sasha's 30, 31, something like that. At that age, what difference does it make? You're not going to replace one of those guys. Short of an injury to Kljestan, I don't think Nguyen's going to get another chance. So, maybe he'll get some playing time and some friendlies. Maybe he'll get some time in the January camp. He may come in as sort of like a backup to Kljestan, so we don't have to do the put Pulisic anywhere on the field thing, or keep moving Bradley around and put him anywhere on the field thing. In that regard, I think Bruce will do a much better job of giving guys positions and setting that as their position and leaving them there. So in that regard, maybe Lee Nguyen has a shot, but I think it's more of a if Kljestan gets hurt or something else happens.
And honestly, he may end up moving Pulisic there. He may bring in Zalalem. Who knows? So, but you're absolutely right. The one thing we know we're going to get from Bruce Arena is players are going to know where they're playing. It's not going to be different from match to match. It's not going to be, well, you don't like playing there, but I think you need to play there. Guys are going to have positions. There's going to be cohesiveness that there wasn't before, which is good. I'm about out of topics, but I have one more for you that I got this from the Howler podcast, and it was something that resonated with me because I was kind of thinking of it. I was thinking about getting a Christian Pulisic Borussia Dortmund jersey, and then I realized that I'm 36 and he's 18. And is that weird? I think the way they posed the question was, should you get the jersey? Can you get the jersey of a guy who's younger than you? And I think there's a sliding scale here. I have a few Donovan jerseys, a Michael Bradley jersey, some other sports of guys who are minimally younger than me. Pulisic was the first time where it was like, okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm too old. And then there's the thing where I'm also kind of too fat to be pulling off a soccer jersey at this point too. So I know you're not, but I am. So probably not going to get it.
My phone just buzzed because TJ is texting me, so he's probably sending something about this. So what's up, TJ? Is it wrong? Whatever. I mean, it's just a jersey. Like, all you're doing is showing the respect for this player. I don't have a problem with it. Realistically, everybody in the national team is younger than me, so whatever. And is it any worse than? Well, I mean, come on. There's still people who wear Pele jerseys or Maradona jerseys, and they haven't played in 30 years or more.
I think there's a certain level of guy where that's cool. Like if you break out an Alexi Lalas jersey, that's awesome. But if you have a Taylor Twellman jersey, I like Taylor Twellman.
That has to be super tight, though. I mean, you have to wear that like a sausage casing.
I have the size head to pull off a Taylor Twellman jersey because he's got that too, but I can't fit into like a child's medium. I could go grab some of my son's jerseys and see, but I don't think I'm going to pull that off like he could. So, but no,
you literally could not pull it off.
Like we saw a girl in Columbus wearing a Darlington Nagbe number 10 jersey, a US. Right. And then I'm like, this was at the time before Klinsmann was fired. I'm like, I don't know that you're ever going to see that again. And if you do, he's not going to be wearing number 10. So, maybe that's not the one to get, but yeah, I don't know. I might still get one. We'll see.
I don't have a problem with it. I think, I mean, I know I've seen guys wearing like women's jerseys or, I don't know, children wearing old jerseys or whatever. So to me, the age gap, whatever, it doesn't matter. Maybe if you think about it, it gets weird, but then lots of things get weird if you think about them that much.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw a fucking Harambe jersey in Columbus.
Yes, that's true. There was one of those. That to me is weirder than that because that's just a one-time joke. In a year, who the hell's even going to know what Harambe was?
All right, anything else we need to discuss?
No, I did see a comment go by that said Costa Rica fucked us.
Yeah, I read that too. I think that's fair. I think they pretty much did.
I don't know if they fucked us as much as Klinsmann fucked us, or
probably more.
Klinsmann fucked the players who fucked us. I don't know how you comment on it, but I think they just kind of finished the job. Like they had the pop shot, so to speak.
Jesus Christ! Joel Campbell was it. That was what Joel Campbell was. He was the top of that game.
I'm the one who just said that on the World Wide Web.
There's a long time until we get to at least Camp Cupcake, and a very long time until the March qualifiers. And so if we're still going to be doing these, things are going to get a lot weirder, I think.
We're going to have to entertain ourselves. So. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Thank you for joining us. We'll do it again We should probably come up with a schedule for these.
That'd probably be a good idea.
I feel like we're going to shoot for at least once a week. Maybe we'll obviously
Maybe
do
like
it if
Mondays and Wednesdays or something. Or
I think maybe we should set it for Mondays and Wednesdays. I think we can do that right here and now. And if there's news that breaks on a Thursday or Friday or whatever, we'll probably do one too. But yeah, so we'll probably be back Wednesday unless something happens. Who knows? Thanks for joining us. This is USfanTV. Go to the website, USfanTV.com. The Twitter is at right there, at USfanTV. Go. And
find us on the Twitters.
I have a mug that says USfanTV right there.
His coffee has been to USfanTV. All right.
All right. Adios.